Blimey. This is rather lovely, isn't it? First thing in the morning. It's just coming up to 10 o'clock, or it's just after 10 o'clock in the morning here in East Sussex. I think it's East Sussex. Yeah, definitely East Sussex. I'm on Ashdown Forest at the, what is it? Broadstone car park near Wych Cross. And I'm looking north at the top of this hill here across part of the Ashdown Forest at the incredible view with the heather and the grasses and the gorse and the fir trees. And I'm here to meet young ringer Ollie. But I beat him to it because I just wanted to have a look at this incredible view. It is quite magical. Well, I don't know about quite magical, it's a strange word, isn't it? Quite. It is very magical. Apart from the road up here, which you get the noises on, it's just very majestic. You can just hear birds in the trees and the odd thing rustling through the bushes, which is interesting. A lot of people come to the car park, obviously, to take in the beauty, but to walk their dogs, and I've seen people in the distance wandering around, and then there's industrial noises coming down from the valley beyond, which sort of comes up, hugs the surface, and then envelops you as you stand here. A little bit of cloud, but not much. I'm very tempted to go wandering off, but I mustn't yet. I need to hover around by the van because Ollie will be here any minute, so I might make a cup of coffee in the meantime whilst I wait for him and find out what our mission is today.
Tempting to crash right into the side of your van.
He's here. Ringer Ollie is here. Hello, Ollie. Come over.
I might not be here.
Oh, he might not be. He's playing silly buggers. But what do we expect?
I like to be awkward.
Come in a bit closer because my focal range is about there.
Okay.
It's all very technical. Anyway, we haven't seen Ringer Ollie on the channel for months and months and months and months. We thought that perhaps he'd got stuck in the belfry.
I did. No, I didn't.
No. No, you should have kept that going. People would have loved it.
Yeah, but other people would have been concerned.
No, they
Well,
wouldn't.
no, bell ringers would have been like, what are you doing in a belfry?
Keep forward, Ollie.
I
Otherwise,
didn't get stuck in a belfry.
No, all right, fair enough. You didn't get stuck in a belfry, but you've been busy, haven't you?
Yes.
You've been doing stuff down at Coleman's Hatch, where we last saw you.
Yeah. Yeah, so you can actually see it from here. We've been rehanging the bells this week.
Right.
And they're all... Today, actually, we're going to test them.
Are you?
So
Get the old ropes.
we need to tie them back on first.
Oh, fair enough. Yes, that always
All in
helps.
bags.
Oh, are they?
Bin
What,
bags.
the bin bags? What, the bells?
No, the ropes.
Oh, the ropes. Oh, yes. You've been hanging. How easy is it to put the bells back up on the...
Well, the bells didn't actually leave.
Oh, I
We
see.
cheated. The bells were perfectly fine,
Yes.
but the fittings were worn, so we took the fittings out,
Right.
and now we've brought them back.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. That's good. So, that's Coleman's Hatch. I'm glad you didn't fall down the Coleman's Hatch. I don't know how it got its name, but anyway, what's the mission today?
We're walking.
Ah, yeah, because that's something you don't normally do.
No.
No.
I'm not looking forward to it, actually.
No, I realise that. But what are we looking for? We've got another church, haven't we? Big,
Yes.
prominent church, very visual, on the landscape, going to see it for miles, not one of these tucked away in the middle of nowhere that we can't spot because of the trees and shrubs.
You can't see anything. It's not there anymore.
What?
It's been demolished.
You're taking me to a church that isn't there because it's big. So we're just going to look at a pile of rubble?
No, just a field.
He's dragged me all the way up here to Ashdown Forest to look at the lovely views and all of that and the wild animals. And we're going to go just to have a look at a field where a church was.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing?
That's a turn up. Come on in.
Better than anything we've gone to before.
Yes, better than those existing churches. Which way?
That way, I think.
I'm in your hands.
I'm trying to think which way it actually... No, it is this way. Right, okay,
Good.
go on. Good start.
We've managed to find a little track.
I am in focus.
Yeah,
I was worried.
Just take the step there, that's it. We spend, you may not realise this, ladies and gentlemen, but before every shot, because I know you don't know how filmmaking works, because everybody knows now, we spend ages getting the focus right, the microphone in the right place, the crew have got the lights correct, there's the stunt cars on standby. We've got the helicopter and all of that. I've got my drone, by the way.
Have you?
In the van. I was going to send it up. Of course, I didn't bring it with me. But we could send it up there to get a sky view look at the place. Just to give you people a... It might get windy. But anyway, the point is, we found a lane. That's what... She's a nice girl. And she said if we follow it down...
Oh dear. Right.
If we found this lane and it's taking us to the patch where the church was. So what's the matter?
I found a lane.
I know my jokes are very old.
Oh dear.
Come forward and that.
I need to collect myself. Right.
You just look, we've got a FedEx van coming in.
Run!
Run!
Right. Sorry, this is... You're really having a go at Elaine today. Oh. I'll just carry on, just go off without me. This is not going to end well. Oh dear. Oh.
We may have come to a bit of a cropper, apart from struggling with Elaine on the front of the FedEx vehicle. We've come to the point in the road where it says it's private and we can't go any further. So we've cunningly looked at the map. It's still a bit further down there. It might be on private property. We may not actually be able to get to it, but there is a black dotted line that might be a permissible path that skirts a little cottage that's buried in the woodland here.
Hopefully. It looks quite clear up there. It looks like there's a clearing.
Yeah,
so we might be lucky.
Let's go and have a look at and investigate that. We've moved on a bit. Great. And before I get blasted by the sun, there's a hotel here, which at one time, if I remember rightly, was part of Ashdown Park, which, if I remember this fact, was given to the Belgian army for a hospital or something like that. Where's coming this way? There he is, isn't it?
Reminds me of the Dad's Army episode, Don't Fence Me In.
Oh, that's electric, that. 452,000 volts. So we're trying not to trespass, but we're not on any official path. I don't know if Ashdown Forest itself is open land and you can go wherever you like, but at the moment we think the spot where the church was is just down there and probably at the end of the perimeter of the hotel's land, and we should find it. We should know it's there because when we get there won't be a church.
How helpful.
No, but you said there's no trees, there's a clearing.
I doubt there would be trees.
No.
But you can never tell, really.
'Cause
they could have planted some.
It was demolished in when?
1974.
So it was there for about 100 years,
Yes.
and then it vanished,
Yeah, about 110 years.
and it disappeared to Coleman's Hatch.
A lot of the parishioners went to the
Yeah.
new church at Coleman's
I
Hatch.
wonder if they dragged... I thought Coleman's Hatch was built because the other church was... They'd had the mix up with the vicar there.
Yes, they had, but because that church was a bit bigger. Choked myself. That church was a bit bigger and it was newer. I think a lot of the parishioners just went there.
Right.
Plus, it had a better ring of bells.
Of course it did. Has this one that we're going to look at got a ring of bells?
It had a chime of 6.
Do you know where the chime is now?
They smashed it up. Well, because they couldn't get it out of the tower.
Oh, I see.
So they smashed them all up in the belfry and threw the chunks off the top.
So if you went with a metal detector that could pick up brass, you might find bits of old chime.
Bronze.
Shall we move on then? Got that.
Tut, Richard. I thought you'd know.
Yeah. I thought they were brass bells, like brass
I have
buttons.
got a brass bell here. So.
Well, we think we found it. We certainly found something. There seems to be a bit of a behind us here, a wall onto a bank, and then, as Ollie kept telling me, he said there's a clearing we're looking for because not much would have grown in the time where the church had been.
Yes.
And so,
And I'd say this is the clearing because I think you've got. I sent you some pictures of it. Behind a part of the church is fir trees.
yeah,
And also there's a tree standing up. I don't know what's that one, which is quite bald. Tough on
fir
top.
oh, don't know.
Well, whatever that is, there is a picture of that.
Oh, is it?
So I'd say that just up here is where the church would have gone along, and then that would have been the churchyard wall. Is my.
Yes.
Assumption.
Do you know if there were any graves here?
Don't remember seeing any,
Right.
but we could try and find some.
So the church, we should say what the church is. The church is St Richard's...
St Richard de Wych.
Richard de Wych, because
Who-
we're at Wych Cross.
I presume so. St
Yeah.
Richard of Wych Cross.
Right.
And St Richard was the
He was the bishop at
Bishop of Sussex?
yeah.
Patron saint of Sussex or something like that.
based in Chichester, wasn't
Yes. Yeah, so if we went up a little bit further, we'd be... I'll tell you what, we could...
he? It's quite boggy, isn't it, here?
It is. And I think there was some problem with subsidence in the structure.
Oh, right.
So where we're standing now would have been the chancel crossing. So like the tower would have been there.
Oh, I
and then
see.
the altar would have been just up there. And then we'd be looking down to the pews. Down there.
Down there. Right, oh, okay. So, now you've got something in your hand. What have you got in your hand?
I've got a little souvenir. It's a brick from the churchyard wall.
Excellent.
And I think, because I posted on a Ashdown Forest Facebook group, does anyone know if you can get to it? And nobody knew. So I think to be able to come here, not many people know about it.
Yeah.
So I've got a souvenir to prove that I've been here.
Yes.
I was going to take a much bigger one, but I thought this one was under a bit of dirt.
Bit over the top there.
I don't know what I should do.
What have you got? What is it?
Well, I believe this is a stone from, and it's slightly curved as well, and it looks like a stone from one of the walls coming up. So the church was in almost it's called a cruciform shape, so it was shaped like a cross, and from the looks of and one end was slightly curved towards the altar end. So, and this kind of the embankment of trees is curved. So I'd say that this was the end of one of the walls at, what would this be, the east side, the east end of the church, which was slightly curved. So I think that's where it was. And then the church would go down in that direction.
It's quite eerie, isn't it?
It is, it's strange to know, like, because right now it just looks like such a peaceful place, and
Yes.
I can just imagine just looking up at this amazing building, and it had some quite falling into a tree. It had some quite amazing architecture on it. I think parts of it were copied from Durham Cathedral, is what I heard from someone. I don't know if it's true or not.
So Ollie, you've brought me just a little away from the church now, but you've brought me here because you've observed something else.
I have observed something, which is rare. There are two quite definite walls coming along here, and then a gap and it goes up, and then another wall coming up here and going up, which...
So the walls that were the perimeter wall of the churchyard,
yes.
not the walls of the church.
Yeah, so the churchyard walls, and this would have been like a drive up slightly, or like a gravel path I suppose, up to just where it breaks into the clearing. There would have been the two west doors,
Yes.
which are the big doors at the end. So we'd be looking right up, and would have been up there.
So tell us about the decline of the church. It was built in the mid-Victorian
It
period.
was built between about 1865 to about 77.
Right.
So
And then it was demolished in 1984.
1974.
Sorry, yes, 1974. And so it was in use, but then presumably it started to not be in use. Now, you mentioned earlier that they were going to the Coleman's Hatch.
Yes.
Church.
So Coleman's. Well, this was one of the biggest churches in the area at the time.
And you can see that, sorry to interrupt you, but you can just get the sense. We are on the top of a hill. It slopes down in front of us with a whole load of pine trees, which are quite young. 100 years ago, they probably weren't here. So it would have been seen.
Yes, it would have been right on the top of the hill. And also, looking at the bigger picture, it's right on the top of the ridge. Like Coleman's Hatch Road, which is a bit up there,
Yeah.
quarter of a mile or so, is right on the top of a ridge.
Yes.
And there's no definite slope down to here, so this would have been right on the top.
Yes, yes. So where I parked the van and I started the video, I was walking northwards and it drops down into a valley because we're on the breast of this ridge, which now we're on the other side of that whole ridge.
Yeah.
And it will
It's
drop
starting
down.
to slope back down again.
Yeah. So the church was obviously going to be observed for miles around.
Yeah.
But it's a shame. It must have cost a lot to build, and then suddenly it's not being used.
It was built by the family who lived in Ashdown Park House, or whatever it was called, the
Right.
big house over there,
Which is now the hotel.
which is now the hotel. And I think it was probably an estate church.
Oh, I
Is
see.
my thought.
For the estate workers.
Yes, and the family as
And-
well.
and the
'cause
family.
It was very grand.
Yes.
And as I said earlier on, there were parts of it I think were replicated from Durham Cathedral, and it was surprisingly ornate.
Right.
And at about the time 1860, they were building the bottom half of Fairwarp Church, because the tower was added in.
Yes, Fairwarp. I remember laughing about the name.
Yeah, Withyham and Fairwarp.
Yes,
No,
great
Fairwarp.
place, yeah,
the,
Fairwarp.
the tower of the church was built as a war memorial, like 40 something.
Yes.
So that's a long time ago, or not actually that long ago. But the bottom of the church was built at about the same time as this.
Right.
So there were churches starting to spring up.
At that period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
So
was
there's
probably
kind of a big revival in church building.
Yes, yeah, about 1860s kind of time. And there probably wasn't any when they thought of the idea, but by the time they had finished it, there was a church in Fairwarp as well.
Oh, I see.
So that maybe wasn't the best timing.
But why get rid of it?
Well, as the story goes on a bit further, Coleman's Hatch Church was built, more of the parishioners from here went there.
Yeah. So
Different
no one was
churches
using it.
Yeah, so it's just becoming a bit of a burden.
I read that the house became for a short while a nunnery,
Yes. So
and it was the nuns who neglected it.
yes, so after the hospital for the Belgians, I think it was rented by nuns from a convent.
Right.
Notre Dame convent, I think, but not actually.
They weren't hunchbacks, were they?
No. It
No.
wasn't the parish Notre Dame.
Oh, okay.
There are quite a few.
I didn't realise. I was
but-
expecting them to be, nonetheless, walking around with.
Well, no, but they rented the house.
And
obviously-
they did nothing with the church.
Well, because this was part of the estate for the house, they had this as well.
Yes.
But they decided that it was too big and it was a bit too far away.
Now, I know you're eager to tell me about vandalisation.
Well, yeah. Towards the end of its life, it wasn't being looked after. It was just kind of left, and it was being vandalised, and people, like homeless people, were living in it, and it was just becoming a bit of a burden. So I believe just before the family sold the estate, they demolished it in 1974.
So the family demolished it?
Well, I think so.
Not the nuns? Because the nuns
No.
rented it from the family.
Yes, but I think before Barclays bought it,
It had gone.
it had been demolished,
Great.
which was a shame. And as I said earlier, the bells,
Yes.
which is my bit, they couldn't fit out the tower because they had like put some floors in.
Oh, I see.
And the easiest way to do it was just to get sledgehammers and smash them up in the belfry and
Right.
take the chunks up to the top of the tower, and they threw them off the top.
Did you not just say it chimed? Or was that somewhere else? Well, I'm getting confused now.
I think you're getting confused.
Oh, okay, so you mentioned somewhere chimed. Anyway, so how many bells were there?
6.
Oh, right, proper bells.
They didn't swing. I think they were a chime.
Were they Gillett and Swansdeck?
Gillett and Johnson. No, I think they were Thomas Mears. Really just boring.
Oh, boring, cheap, naff old bells.
They are the bread of bells. The basics. Common.
Common as muck. If you're watching, what did you say they were called? Mears, as in the meerkats. Are they still going?
Well, Mears
We
turned into Whitechapel.
Oh, but Whitechapel are good, aren't they?
Whitechapel have closed. Well, founding bell. Whitechapel was the oldest licensed company in Britain.
Wait,
And
so Mears were before Whitechapel?
Mears and it. There's a long story. Thomas the First Mears, Thomas the Second Mears, Mears and Steinbank, Whitechapel.
And Gillett and Johnson had nothing to do with it?
Gillett and Johnson were a different foundry.
Different
They
family.
made clocks as well.
Yeah, there you go.
Confused.
Well, we've got to get out of this place, haven't we? Because I heard somebody coming with dogs. I'm not really keen to be mauled alive on the altar of a church that's
I'll
no
give it a
longer
shot.
here. Well, I'll film you being mauled alive, no problem. But presumably we can go back through the church that's not here and up towards the road again.
I hope so. I might go back the way we came,
Okay,
because that's a tried and tested route.
I'll see you later.
I'm going this way. Bye.
Meanwhile, Ollie has to go.
Yes.
So you're going on your funky
Lawnmower.
lawnmower.
Petrol's beeping empty. Oh dear. Oh no. Oh, that's interesting. If you lean it back, you can get an extra bar of petrol.
Ah. So you're all right going up hills?
Yes, going down hills is a bit scary because
Yeah.
it sometimes goes to empty.
And then you've got the inertia of the downhill to get you at the bottom of the hill.
Yes, and I've also been told that there's an extra tank, like a reserve tank.
But as you don't know where it is, you couldn't have possibly filled it up.
Apparently it just fills itself up.
Oh, for free.
Well, when you put it in, it fills it up first.
Ollie's gone now. I did film him leaving, but for some reason I pressed the button too many times and actually turned the camera off rather than on, but he made a comedy exit. I've made myself a cup of coffee now, and I have a chocolate biscuit, which is lovely sitting here on Ashdown Forest by the van. Well, it's been an interesting trip looking for that church. After we finished filming, we traced where we thought the gate was and where the West Tower was, or I think it was in the East Tower, or however the layout was, and it became too complicated to try and put that on the camera, but it was fascinating to go to a church that had been there and then has gone, and as I said before, it was a bit of an eerie feeling, and it's a piece of history that's come and gone, and now you wouldn't know, and as years go past, unless people make note of it, it may not have happened. Nobody would ever think that it had. You'd go there now with no knowledge. So it's nice to have marked it. Anyway, I'm going to have my coffee, have a chocolate biscuit, and I will catch up with you on another one. Don't forget to follow, like and subscribe. Give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. Good to see Ollie. He's off to Norfolk, I think, soon, so I may be joining him up there next time. Anyway, till next one, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.